The European Union has just sent a warning to every country that is selling citizenship, and that message is we decide who gets to be European, not you. In a landmark ruling, the EU court attacked Malta's Golden Passport program, challenging national sovereignty and shaking up the global mobility industry. If they can pressure Malta, who's next and what are your options going to be? Hi, this is Jeremy from the Millionaire Migrant. Here we help you every single day to be able to find all the information regarding protecting yourself in a globalized world. So I'm talking bank accounts, I'm talking citizenships, I'm talking residencies, tax, corporate structures, foundations, trusts, you name it. Just a few days ago, the European Court of Justice has come down hard on Malta's Citizenship by Investment program, the only direct EU citizenship by investment program that is left. And now it's saying that it violates EU law, even though it has the sovereign right to be able to give citizenship and bestow that upon any applicant. It goes against European law. And so this is a big news. We don't know now, it's still too early to say what the wider ramifications are for Malta, for EU, for the golden visa programs, and just generally citizenship by investment. But what we do know is that it's very clearly politically motivated, and this has been intimated. It's a power struggle between national governments and an unelected bureaucracy headquartered in Brussels. We're going to leave a press release link here that you can click on if you want to get all the full information regarding what happened. But this is clearly big news, and we're going to get more information as it comes out in the coming days and weeks and months. We'll come to what your options are, what you should be doing if you're already in the process, you are about to start the process, or if you're about to do another process in another country, a European country or non-European country, what you want to know, because you probably, the first reaction is like, oh, I'm just going to wait, I'm going to panic. But there's a bit of a silver lining in terms of a grace period. So we'll talk about that a little bit later on. Malta's Citizenship by Investment program is 10 years old. It started in 2015. Cyprus had one as well, which took various changes over the years, but it got closed in 2020. So Malta was fighting on its own against the EU. And when there was two, there was, you could team up, but when there's one, the pressure had just been increasing, and there was various court processes and litigation going on between Malta and the EU back and forth, which started around 2022. But the program itself, just for those of you who aren't aware, is a citizenship by investment. So we're not talking a residency and then getting the citizenship, like, for example, Portugal, Greece, and the recently closed Spain. This one here is a give or take 15-month process on average for our clients. You would have to donate non-refundable investment to the Maltese government, which would be 600 to 750,000 euros. You would then, on top of this, also have to lease a property for around 16,000 euros for a few years, or you'd buy a property for 700,000 euros. And then you'd also have to do a charitable donation. You put it all together, you're looking at over €1 million, 1.1, something like this, 1.2, depending on the family size and depending on whether you did the real estate or the donation. The process was relatively straightforward. You'd have to do a residency process, so you get your PR card within like a couple of months of starting, but you'd have to do various trips there, and you'd have to show some links to the country. You'd have to have some, you affiliate yourself with the country. This is something that was a main cornerstone of the argument of the EU against any citizenship program, whether it's an EU or non-EU one, is that the whole argument they have is based on genuine links. They really want this, and that's why Malta imposed this. But the whole process is fairly straightforward. Again, you would only pay when you get approved. And it was a very popular program, and a lot of people did it. All different nationalities did it. I had a few different nationalities do it. I had some very interesting chaps that I met who were, contrary to what public opinion might be, which is like Russians and Saudis. I had guys who were completely self-made. I had one guy, he was a professor, a maths professor in Europe, but didn't have a European passport. And then he ended up, his career just went on a huge trajectory. So a normal working class guy who grew up in a working class family, who would then would go to Malta, and I went with him and we met several times, and he ended up getting his passport. Normal people. So this is not about buying citizenship. This is about social mobility, wealth mobility, as much as geographical mobility. In October 2024, the Advocate General Anthony Michael Collins sided with Malta, and he recommended the EU's Commission's case be dismissed entirely. However, the European Court of Justice decision now has gone a volte-face and a complete about-turn, and said that they are now going to be on the other side, which is this is a breach of EU law. And again, this is the whole problem with EU that we're seeing, is that essentially, I don't think anyone is even people in Europe, Europeans themselves are totally happy with the way things are going. it's a bit of a shock. My contacts were giving me a few kind of hints that it was going to be negative news the day before. Again, I've been dealing in this industry. I've been operating in this industry for 15 years. I have a career in different mixes across real estate, citizenship, residency, tax for 25 years. But Millionaire Migrant is here to educate people a little bit from behind the scenes, but from a very high level perspective, because I have a lot of contacts all around the world. So I'm able to get a lot of information, accurate information, upfront information, and even ahead of time information. There's going to be some comments coming out, but the first comments that are coming out initially are that they're going to push back against this, they're going to fight this, and I think what it's going to play out is some kind of grace period. This is usually, history tells us that these type of decisions, when they get done, they usually don't close down immediately. It has happened in some countries. I believe Cyprus didn't really have any kind of, but Cyprus was a really bad situation, so I think that's different. Malta's is not. This has been going out for a long time, and it's political. So I do feel that we are going to get towards some kind of grace period. We will see in the coming days and weeks how long that grace period would be, and we're going to talk about whether you should start, which I think you should. Because don't wait, because definitely if they came out in a month's time and said, okay, well, there is no grace period, we could have put your file together and submitted. At Savory and Partners, we have been doing this for a long time, and we have been helping clients, and we're getting loads of calls in the last 24 hours about what we should be doing. My advice to everyone is that we should have been doing this years ago, honestly speaking. If you haven't already done it, I don't know why you're waiting. EU citizenship by descent in Italy got closed down. You should have started earlier. Spain is closed. We should have started earlier. Ireland is closed. Should have started earlier. Cyprus is closed. Should have started earlier. Portugal has made the threshold higher. So again, should have started earlier. So I would say if you really want to do Malta or anything else, I can't really re-emphasize enough that you should really get your act together and start this whole process, because we'll look back on this in a decade's time and say, wow, people could actually obtain a European nationality for multiple generations without actually having to spend too much time there, without having to be a tax resident there for too much time, without having to speak the language for too much time. Such a thing will not exist, and people will have regrets. This ruling changes how the EU citizenship is viewed. This case basically challenges the concept of citizenship through investment rather than people migrating to Europe. But guess what? The immigration to Europe is the whole reason why we have the Reform Party coming up in the UK, why we have the National Front in France, why you've got the AFD in Germany. Like the irony is quite funny. But essentially, this is also more worrying because it's saying that the EU can also influence countries' sovereign ability to decide what it gets to do with its own country. That is actually a bigger wake-up call, and this is something that is really much more alarming. If I was to look at the industry that my company has been operating in, and all my colleagues and friends within the wider industry around the world that help people to migrate, whether it's Canada, US, UK, Malta, the Caribbean islands, Vanuatu, you name it, this type of news can also have some kind of impact on the wider industry. I don't want to be alarmist. I think people should start the process in terms of alarmist, but there will always be countries that will find ways to attract capital. Every country needs capital. Actually, the ones who need it the most are Europe and the UK. So they will do it, but eventually they'll shake their heads out of it. And it looks like UK will be shaking its head soon, because it can't get any worse right now, what's happening. But they will realize that actually, hang on a minute, there are people out there who have a lot of money. They're willing to do an exchange, but it has to be an attractive exchange. But the EU, because of this huge bureaucracy and layers of bureaucracy, I don't think is really a place that is. I think it's all these golden visa programs. If you look how much it has transformed, using a case in point, Portugal truly transformed the country. I remember what it was like there pre 2008, the global financial crisis, and what it was like after. And you look where it is today. This is the benefit that it has on these countries. We will keep you updated with news. Come to millionairemigrant.com, subscribe, follow the YouTube channel, or subscribe to the email list. We're going to start sending emails. I'm going to personally start, again, just like I started my Savory and Partners, the government accredited citizenship by investment firm that I'm the CEO of. Millionaire Migrant is different. I'm actually going to start again, just like I did 15 years ago, with a little IKEA desk that was that big. It was black on the top with white legs. I still remember what it looked like. And I'm going to start writing my newsletter. It's tough to remotivate yourself at my age with all the other things I've got going on in my life. But I really want to have a personal way to get across to everybody that watches these videos, to be able to understand all the things that I've seen and observed and learned, and the people I've connected with, and be able to share that with you, so it can really help you guys to make educated, informed decisions decisions about all the opportunities you have around the world, not just citizenship and residency, but also tax. I mean, it's just coming up everywhere, and you want to find opportunities. And not even tax in Europe. I got guys coming into the office from Kenya. Kenya is really looking out for people and trying to find money. So protect yourself, protect your family, protect your friends. Find ways that you can maximize and leverage all the hard work that you've done and that you're about to do, and take advantage of all the other countries around the world saying, hey, listen, you can come here. You know, I give you a case in point. You look at Portugal, going a bit off tangent, but Portugal will tax heavily at citizens, but it had a program where you could leave, even as a Portuguese citizen, for 10 years, earn loads of money overseas, and then re-enter Portugal. And then for the next 10 years, as long you could receive dividends, passive income, rental income from overseas, tax-free. All you have to do is just leave. So you understand the opportunities are there. You just need to educate yourself, and you're going to see loads of videos coming out regularly, giving you all the options out there, and using a lot of my personal experience that I've gained over 25 years since I left the UK. I give my age away a little bit there. Anyway, so we are going to find out at the grace period. I'm fairly bullish that there's going to be a grace period. We will see what it will be, how it would look like, how long it's going to be. I would say if you want to do Malta, do it now. For the wider industry, you've still got a few years. The EU is really slow, so that's a good thing about the EU actually, is that they're really slow at doing stuff. So whatever happens, you can apply for other different programs. Some people, I had a guy yesterday on the phone, he's like, well, I don't know if I should do it right now. It's like, here's another good thing about EU. It's not all bad in the EU, there's some good stuff. The other thing is that from the day that you submit your file, you are protected. There's a legal framework which will be on your side. So once you submit your file, which we can do in 30 days, sometimes it's more depends on the client how fast they are. But from our team and our side, we're here fully ready to highly experienced people. We've got guys who've done 100, 200, 300 files each, and we've got a team of them. We will submit your file. Once you're in and submitted, nothing can happen to your file. To use a case in point, look at Portugal. Everyone submitted their file, waiting ages to be able to get their biometric appointments from IMA, and nothing happened. So then what happens is you can sue IMA. We had clients who were suing IMA, and we were helping them, advising them, explaining to them that you can't just go around just suing people. You have to just, you don't want to burden the infrastructure. But if you've got a valid case, go for it. And they were doing it, and they were winning and winning and winning. So again, this is a legal framework that will protect you if you want to do Malta or you do Portugal, but you don't need to start suing people. You just need to work on it now, get your documents ready, contact us, millionairemigrant.com. We'll be able to give you advice on how to go. We've got friends in Malta who are ready to work immediately. Let's see the grace period, but I wouldn't start delaying. Get working on your basic documents, your birth certificates, your police clearance certificates, your bank statements, passport copies, all of that, and just get moving. So we'll keep you updated. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.